The Bongcloud opening started as a meme opening, but now has turned into the ultimate warfare. Players are trying to think that if they play the Bongcloud opening, they maybe could have some chance to fool their opponent and turn them into a crazy lunatic. But can you actually win a game with the Bongcloud opening? Magnus tried to do that against Hikaru, but Hikaru just memed back. But my goal for today's video is to show you that you can actually win with the Bongcloud opening, and it is a real opening you can play. I, a 2000 ELO Blitz player like this guy over here, will be seeing if I can actually win with the Bongcloud opening without turning into a crazy lunatic and peeing my pants. Alright, in the first game I'm playing white. I'm going to go e4 and king e2, obviously. This open I'm going to play. And my opponent goes for something very peculiar, alright? So I'm going to speed this game up since I played a lot of games. And I'm trying to go for some nice setup, and my goal is to get my king to the castling position as soon as possible. So I'm trying to just like make my king and trying to get my king in the castling position, as you see here. But my opponent is kind of being a little feisty with his moves. You know, bro thinks he's Hikaru. So actually, he does not think he's Hikaru because he's not really actually like I was expecting him to more kind of understand that I did a bad move and try to, you know, I guess try to gain off of that, but he's not trying to do that. And I actually get to castle my king very early in the game, basically manually castle my king. So now our positions are very even, actually, and I literally just played the Bongcloud, so this guy does not know what he's doing. Yeah, so I'm just trying to trade off pieces now. I mean, I'm in a totally equal position, and I just played the Bongcloud, so my guy over here needs to take some Bongcloud lessons from the man himself, you know. Alright, so free pawn, he just hangs a straight up pawn. He's trying to go for like queen b1, he's trying to go for like queen b2 or something, but I just have queen g5, and I can just like stay in that type of position. He could try me with some sort of moves, but yeah, he has a free pawn over here. I did analyze the take variation, but I decided not to really do it and just like push the pawn. Since I'll just be winning a pawn over here. Yeah, and then I just kept on pushing the pawn. He tried to give me a random check, literally for no use, that did absolutely nothing. And I just moved my king down. I moved my queen down. And this pawn looks pretty undefeatable, except he did find a way to actually make it go, I guess. Because he can just take it, and I can't take back since he just takes my rook. Yeah, he goes there trying to checkmate me again, but with no avail. And yeah, this position is the most even position of all time, but you'll see later in the game what happens. Alright, he gives me a free pawn for absolutely no reason, just because he feels like it. And my whole goal here was to get his rook on the C rank on on C8 to get off that square so I can give a checkmate. So I thought he would go for rook C2. So I just did a couple waiting moves until he would do that. And then for some random reason, he did here, and then I went to rook D1. And what happened? I won my first game with the Bongcloud opening. Look at this. Checkmate in 2. He missed that and he resigned. An amazing first game. All right, second game. First game a W, which means that technically we can win with the Bongcloud 100%. All right, second game. Second game is a little more complicated since my opponent does play pretty feistily, as they would say here. He tries to make my, I don't know, he plays very positionally again, but he's playing a little bit more attacking than the last guy. Like he's starting off with his flank pawns. You know, he's trying to go for his, you know, fianchetto bishop. And kind of, yeah, he's trying to go queen there and just some sort of pressure. Like, yeah, like knight b, he's trying to go knight b5 and, you know, make some sort of thing happen. But he actually ends up losing a pawn because I can go here and I can just have a free pawn. And takes, and I just, you know, we're trading off everything. But he does find a good move after this though. Like, he doesn't trade back and he actually goes for knight f4 here, which is a very sneaky move. It's not trading off, but it's also getting his knight to a good square. And you know, some stuff could happen. So he does get his knight to a pretty decent square, and then he can take a pawn there, and he's actually pretty chilling here. Like he can just take, and yeah, take back, and I try to give a check first. So I give a check on e2, and then I have to protect my bishop somehow. So I do go for a very risky move here. I'm kind of setting myself up a little bit in a way, where I go there and he can just bring his rook or queen. He ends up going queen d1 though, which is in my opinion a very good move. Like queen d1 attacks my knight and also protects the bishop, which you'll see, yeah, right here, and protects the knight. Sorry. And now it's a little complicated since he technically could just take my bishop and pin my knight, which he doesn't actually go for. He actually just takes my knight and lets me take. So and then I think about where I guess where to move my bishop. So I do go for the bishop to d6 here, and he could go for like rook d1 or something. But you know, I feel like the position's pretty decent again. I think it's like a drawish position again. So I did have another draw, but then I messed up, bro. Then I freaking messed up, bro. I messed up. I go for g6, which, look at this, guys. How do I protect myself from checkmate? Zero chance. Only move I have is king f8, but king f8 basically just loses like in the next like 5-6 moves. So I do end up losing here, because he gives me a bunch of checks. He gives me that check with the bishop. I move. He gives me the check with the queen. I move. He takes the rook. I have to take back, and then he can just win my other rook with queen g8. And I'm officially, absolutely defeated, bro. I'm cooked. All right. I said that word like a million times because I had no other explanation for this game. I missed one move, and that's it. It took away the entire game. But you know, I gotta say, it was a good game all around, especially because I did play the Bongcloud, bro. So it was not that bad of a game, but you know, he ended up checkmating me. I went kind of insane. And yeah, 1 game win, 1 game loss. Let's start the next game. All right. I do the same thing. I'm going kind of crazy because I'm tired of playing that opening. He doesn't trade off the queens, which I find very weird. I think it's actually good where he did that because he wants to start some sort of attack. So, and then he got me with this stupid move, which I didn't think about very lawfully in this position, if that's even a word you can use here. And then I go for like bishop e7. He traps my guy. I have to take, and then my position's already cooked just from the opening because I can't even castle. Like if I could castle, I'd be fine. But the problem is I can't castle. That's the only problem with this position. Yeah, and then he ends up winning my entire life with this move. Just taking everything, to be honest. I do think I have like bishop e6. But he finds a really good move here, which I get a little bit annoyed. Like he goes back, which means I still can't take. I totally forgot that I can't take if he just goes back in the same file since my queen is pinned. I go for a check, and I immediately realize that I'm cooked because of that check does absolutely nothing. And I still can't castle. So I still cannot castle. It take me like 5 moves to get my king, you know? And then I blunder here because I trade everything off, but I shouldn't have traded everything off in this position. Because somehow this guy, all right? So he gave me a check instead of taking my queen. He pinned my own queen, all right? And he doesn't even take my queen. He doesn't even take my queen. All right, he's absolutely butchering me like a guy who works at a meat house. Like he's butchering me. Like he's grabbing, you know, the meat and he's slicing me up into slices. Think about like the juicy red meat getting cut up and absolutely burned and absolutely destroyed and absolutely, like, I don't even know how to say it. Just getting absolutely destroyed in pieces. All right, this is what's happening to me. He doesn't take the queen. He doesn't. Finally, he doesn't. I was going to say finally takes the queen. No, he doesn't. And I'm pinned again. I have to take. And then I have to take. But after this position, I basically can just resign here. And I think I'm cool. And I think I can fiend kettle my bishop in this random scenario. But checkmate in 1, rook d8. And I sit there and think about my life's choices about playing chess in the first place. And how I can just switch to checkers. All right, next game. So 2 games lost, 1 game won. For now, you cannot win with the Bongcloud. That's for now. That's all I'm going to say for now. All right, he goes for d4 here, which I absolutely hate, and I actually hope for his downfall. I'm just kidding. All right, he goes for this move, and I'm already cooked just from the opening because I, again, cannot castle. I thought I could castle there. I realized I can't castle, and then I just kind of had an existential crisis for a second there. I lost a pawn because I'm not thinking properly for some random reason. And then here I go rook f8, or sorry, queen f8 here actually. And I know he'll give me the check on e6, and I'd have to just go back down. My king is stuck. His bishop is in an amazing square. His knight goes to a beautiful square. He's slowly but surely cooking me already, and I just started the freaking game. I can't, like, the thing is about these opening is like they can crazily get into your position. Crazily, all right? They can absolutely destroy you. All right, so I try to be a little fancy here. I'm like, ooh, but no, I can't do that. And I still can't move my king. I still can't castle. I still cannot castle. I try to do something like rook here, like, but then I realize I can just sack his bishop, and he gets checkmate in 2, and there's no way of stopping it. I can't move my my king anywhere, nowhere. So I just take it and accept my defeat. I mourn about my possibilities of truly living, and yeah, again, another game lost. 1 game win, 3 games lost. I'm actually just super dead here, as you see in my face. I can't even like speak. I'm just playing the dumb same opening. I think I've lost like 100 elo in 1 day today. All right, this guy's gonna go already. I can tell he wants to go fancy with me. He's playing the Sicilian, the Bongcloud Sicilian. Apparently, this is called the King Davis opening. Like a king would invent such a terrible opening like the Bongcloud, or sorry, such an amazing opening for all those Bongcloud players. And here in this game, you'll see what happens, since I evidently am tilted AF, and I can't think for some random reason. So I allow myself to get skewered, and I lose the game. So the answer is no. You cannot win with the Bongcloud opening. Doesn't matter how many times you try. Doesn't matter how much effort you put. You cannot win with such a terrible opening. Only do it for the memes, never for the grind.